Soldier and his brother GiveUAnxiety, aka Matt and Mark. Welcome, guys. How are you doing?
I'm doing
Pretty
fine.
good.
How are you guys doing? How's everybody doing out there?
I'm good, thank you. Um, so let's start with some personal questions here. You guys are brothers. Who's the older one?
That'd be
That's
me.
Matt.
Yep. I'm 26 now. God, this seems old. And Mark's
20.
Mark, what are you? 23?
23.
23.
Yeah, getting old.
And so, Mark, tell us a bit about what you do. I think you moved recently to go study. What do you study?
Yeah, I'm currently in nursing school right now, so I got a year of that left, and then I'll be done with school. So really looking forward to that.
hmm And what about you, Matt?
I'm a machinist right now. I work full time, usually 50 hours a week, and I do some web design, web development, when in my off time.
A machinist on a train or on a boat?
N no, actually, a manufacturing shop.
Okay. And what do you guys do when you're not playing Age of Empires or when you're not studying or working? Any hobbies or
Um,
sports?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I try to fit in what I can. Right, I'll take this first, Mark.
mhm.
So I mean, like I said, I work a lot, so pretty much Monday through Friday, I have like just a couple hours of free time. Where recently I've been trying to fit in some games or something. On the weekends, I hang out with friends and play AOE, pretty much.
Yeah. Pretty much, same for Matt, and well, occasionally we'll play basketball together. I know it's probably been a while since me and Matt have played basketball together, but we play with our friends a lot. And
Yeah,
if not
they were
that,
asking about where you were at on Wednesday.
oh yeah, you were there?
Yeah, I played with everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So if not playing basketball, I like to go to the gym also, and just hang out with friends.
hmm So you guys are from Chicago, right? You Bulls
Hmm.
fans or
Yes.
how
Yeah,
are
Yep.
how are they
um,
doing since Michael Jordan quit or left or?
interesting. That's funny. So I'm surprised you even know about the Bulls, really. But
Oh, my
they've been all right. They've had like, go ahead.
my siblings play basketball as well. My sister actually she had a scholarship in the USA to play basketball, but
Oh wow.
it's
Yeah.
about you
So
guys. So go ahead.
yeah. So the Bulls have been like they had a couple of like years, probably like 5 years, where they were like rebuilding and stuff. And then once they got Derrick Rose, I don't know if you know who Derrick Rose is.
Mm-mm.
They kind of stepped it up, and but he's been getting hurt like the past 3 4 years. So we're like in this middle ground where we're like pretty good team, top of the conference, but Rose is like always not 100%. So by the time playoffs come, like he kind of falls apart, and the team does too.
All right, that's too bad. So let's do a few quick questions for the both of you. Mark, you can answer first, and then Matt, you can answer after him. Favorite food?
Favorite food? Well, I guess I'll go with what I just picked up. Just picked up some Chinese food, so I don't know. It's kind of one of my spots here when I'm back at home. Actually, just got some beef and broccoli, some rice.
Mine would have to be. I love Mexican food, specifically
Yeah.
like steak or pork tacos,
Mm-hmm.
and like a little side food that I really like is avocados. Like I could just cut up an avocado and
Oh
just
yeah,
eat that.
I had avocado for breakfast today, so I like them too.
Oh, nice.
Favorite movie?
Favorite
Ooh.
movie? That's a tough one. Um,
Ooh. I got
Mm.
Mark. Mark hasn't even seen this movie, which is ridiculous. But I would probably have to say Avatar.
oh, I knew you were
Avatar.
gonna say that. I don't know. I was
Yeah.
thinking. I don't know. One movie that just came to my mind was Troy. That was a really cool one.
hmm
Yeah.
I'm sure it
Classic.
kind of reminds everybody of like Age of Mythology or like Age of Empires
Yeah,
too.
yeah, for
So
sure. All right,
Like gladiators.
last question.
yeah,
Favorite basketball player?
probably Derrick Rose. We're actually Steve Nash,
You
I guess. Steve Nash.
goes way back. I'm actually more
Yeah.
of a baseball fan, but for basketball, I've always really liked Ray Allen, and I always tried to like resemble his shot because
Yeah.
I think personally he's the best shooter of all time,
Okay.
3-point shooter.
Okay, so let's move on to gaming in general. Um, how did you get into gaming, Matt? What's the first time? You are the older one, so I'll ask you first. What's the first
Okay.
game that you played? The first RTS game that you played?
The first RTS game I played was Age of Empires 2. Actually, man, it goes back to a little like point where my friend had Age of Empires 1, but I was watching him play it, never actually played it. Then
Mhm.
my neighbor got me into AoE 2, and me, Mark, Mike, my older brother, and my neighbor, we play like 2-on-2s. That we would start the games with like walls around your TC, and then you just like we'd play for like hours, like 4 hours, and then save it, but like never actually go back and play the same one again. We always just like start over.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely AoE 2 back, and we didn't even know about online. We just like played LAN.
Yeah. And so did you help get your brother Mark into gaming, or did you discover gaming on yourself, Mark?
Yeah, I definitely met. Like he said, I think it started with AoE 2 for us. Just playing with like friends and our brothers, just LAN matches, and then we got into some other RTS games.
Yeah,
AOM, AOC.
I think a few years later, I found a friend of mine in high school, uh, gave me Age of Mythology: The Titans and told
Mm-hmm.
me to install it, and like he told me like my username and password to make, like so that we could find each other online,
Mm-hmm.
and like I did that like one time, and he just like beat the hell out of me on like AOT, and I was like, what the hell? And then like few months later, I like checked it out by myself and actually got into it, and
Mm-hmm.
man,
Mm.
it's it's been like a baby since then.
Yeah.
Been playing this thing forever.
I always like to play Age of Mythology. I always loved the single player. Actually, I never played it online, but it definitely had a very fun campaign. So,
Yeah.
what would be the favorite RTS for you guys?
I already know what Mark's gonna say. Go ahead, Mark.
You go ahead, Matt. Though you want to say first,
Okay.
or do you want me?
My favorite, I go like the thing about AoE 3 that I love is like the community is still alive, and that's like a really important thing to me. And I went from time to time playing like AOM, but it's gotten so small, and like I don't know. I like the card system, the decks, and like all the different like little things that AoE 3 has that's different from other RTS games. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it depends like on even like my mood. Like I might be down to play some AOT or just AoE 3, or I'll throw it back sometimes with some AoE 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the whole franchise, the whole like Age of Empires series, even AoEO. Like that game. That game was fun. That was
We'll
so
get to
fun.
AoEO later.
Yeah.
What about you, Mark? Your
So,
favorite one?
Matt was gonna say, and my favorite, I'd probably have to say AOEO. That was yeah, it was just a really awesome game to play.
Mm-hmm. So
Um,
let's talk a little bit about that. It's not
mhm,
yeah, pretty much the last real Age of Empires
mhm.
game. I think after that there was Castle Siege, but that was for
Yeah.
telephones or for mobile
Mhm.
phones. So um, you guys both were pretty good at it. Yeah, Mark, can you tell us a bit about that game?
Yeah. So let me take it on their way. So the story would probably start with like we were playing AoE 3, and then there's word about like this is back in the day when AoE 3 was late AoE 3 days, and there's word about like a new Age of Empires game coming out. And I remember me and Matt, we saw like the trailer for Age of Empires Online, like that was the new game, and we watched it and we were like so disgusted with it because like we saw like cartoony graphics and like and the
Mm-hmm.
way they like displayed the game, they made it look like a Farmville game, and me and Matt and like the rest of the AoE3 community, we were like, what is this garbage? Like we were like so mad about it.
Yeah.
And I guess fast forward a bit, like they had beta open up for the game, and Matt got an invite, and he made a bunch of accounts to just try to get invited into the beta.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually got one from me, and I remember for a couple of weeks I was like, dude, I don't even care, like I don't want to play the game, like it's a waste.
Yeah.
But then eventually I started playing it. I was like, I'm bored. I don't have any other games to play.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually a little bit of fun. But when they released the game, they released it like probably a year or two soon. Like it was still like an unfinished game, so it got like horrible release.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when like gear, you would have gear on like your units, and it would significantly change all of your units. So at that point it was
Their
just about
stats.
it was just
Like
about
there's items where like, and they didn't have a mode where these didn't affect like your units, but you had like
Yeah.
stuff where you
Mhm.
could have like 50% more HP. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that
To
changed
start the
later
game.
on, right?
yeah.
They
So
changed
so
that
they
later on.
basically,
changed that.
so at that point, like the game was really just about like who had the better gear. It wasn't really about skill.
Mhm.
And it probably took like maybe even like a year after the release, or maybe a little less. I don't know, but yeah, they did eventually make what they called champion mode, where it was like normal RTS AoE3, where gear didn't affect unit stats.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like in our mind where like the game actually started, and that's when
Yeah.
it like got really fun, and we were playing it like really competitively, and we were
Mhm.
like some of the best guys playing the game.
Because it was basically you two were really good at it, and also Demista, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's even guys like AoE3. If you remember, like Suzito, like he played the game for a bit. Um,
I don't know him.
oh really? Yeah, he played
There
AoE3
was
for a while.
another guy. There was a couple guys
Yeah,
that played.
there was like I think something mad. Oh,
Bart played it, I know.
yeah, Bart actually for a little bit. Now he didn't. He was like early
Oh yeah,
champ
Bart
mode, I
didn't play that
guess.
much.
Yeah, but he was actually good when he did. play.
Sam played a little bit.
Yeah, Sam played a bit. Even H2O, I think not as much as Sam. Zuda played a good amount. He was really good too.
Mhm.
Um,
So you guys played a lot of games together. Do you have like a bit of rivalry in the gaming, or is it all brotherly love?
nah, it's probably more so rivalry, especially in AOEO. We definitely had some good series and very anticipated matches versus one another.
So let's stir it up a little bit. Matt is better at AoE3, but any games you were better at, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, could argue that I was better than him at AOEO, but it's.
Wow.
I mean,
no,
it's a
you cannot. You can't argue that. You just look at
Okay,
the
I beat you
where
more
we finished in
series.
tournaments.
I beat
No,
you
no.
more than you did. In tournaments, I beat you more times than you beat me.
Be a
Are
bit
you
generous,
serious?
Matt. Be a bit generous. Come on.
All right,
Mark,
when we go back,
I
the
have
first,
all the results. No, dude, you
I
never
can show you
even
them.
finished. You never finished higher than me in any tournament.
I beat you 3-1 in one like official.
No.
Huh?
All right. Let's not go too far into this,
I beat
guys.
hold on. I beat you.
Yeah.
I beat you 2-1 in tournaments. Like that's a fact.
No, Mark.
Yeah.
You're,
You can look
no.
at two of them were the
One,
ones
hold
that
on.
Steve
Hold on, let
hosted.
me ask you.
One.
When you talk about,
one-
you talking about cash tournaments?
No, okay. The one big
Okay,
tournament was the one
that's
that
all I
Zudo was
talk
like
about.
hosting, and I was up. I think it was a best of 7, and I was up. I think 3-0, and I somehow blew it and lost.
Yeah.
That's
my favorite. That's probably no. Okay. That's
Okay,
my
okay,
favorite win
okay.
versus Mark.
I have to step in here, or otherwise we'll be here all
You
night
do.
arguing about this.
You definitely do.
Let's move on to Age of Empires 3, the game that we're playing currently, and the tournament that's going on. So before I talk about the game, there was a question about your nicknames. Can you tell us why you picked those?
Way back when I first started playing AOM, because we didn't play like anything else before that online, so we never had to pick a nickname. So on AOM, I just like came up with the name Armies, like ARMIES,
Mhm.
and then I started making like other accounts where I would play just Greek, just Atlantean. So I made like Greek armies, Atlantean armies, like, all these names for each civ. And then like I got tired of that name, and I was like, I want a name related to like a fighter, a warrior, or something like in the army. So and then I just picked soldier.
Okay. And what about you, Mark?
So going back, like originally in AoE 3, my AoE 3 name that I had for a really long time was Slayer.
It was Mark. You could go back farther than that. Remember,
Yeah.
you start off in Mark GG.
Yeah, Mark GG, and I guess in AOT that was my name. And then I think in AoE 3 is when I switched to Slayer.
Yeah, I remember you as a Slayer when you
yeah.
when I first met you.
And I would always make him call Slater.
And then so it was pretty funny about my current name right now. It was actually, like I was saying earlier, when there was like the beta for AOEO and Matt was trying to get invites, like he just kept making like new email addresses and like emailing them to get an invite.
Yeah, so
and
the way that happened.
Go ahead, Matt.
No. You finish your story, Mark.
No, he could take over because he knows it a little bit better. So you could go ahead, Matt.
All right.
Yeah, so I was trying to. I originally didn't even want to get in, but then like I started getting curious, for the beta, and I made like probably 4 or 5 different emails, just trying to get a key, and then eventually the first one that I got in, I was like a little bit of a personality in like AOE 3 at the time, still, so I knew ADAC, and somehow he had some connection, and ADAC got me my key, and then a couple like weeks or months later, I was just randomly checking like the other emails I made, and I made GiveUAnxiety. I picked that name just for the hell of it, and then that one was in. I'm like, Mark, you want this? Like, you want to test out the beta?
So, and then so then basically, I mean, I just started using account in AOEO. And then people kind of just like, started, knowing me as that name. So I was like, it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. So. All right. So I guess you both quit AoE for a while to play other games. But what made you guys come back?
Come back to AoE 3? Or
yeah, to AoE 3.
Basically AoEO went inactive and then Slash died, so we had no other RTS game to play. And I think I kind of just started playing AoE 3 because I had like no video games to play, and I think I slowly got Matt back into it.
Yeah, I wasn't playing any game for like 8 months, and then I was getting pretty good back at AOT on Voobly, and then it was around like New Year's last year. Mark's like, you were like, oh dude, like I'm playing TAD again, and like there's a tournament coming up, and you start playing. I'm like, I don't know. But then I was on break from work for like a couple weeks, so I started playing. And
you got sucked back in. Man, you got sucked back in.
Yep.
All right. So Mark, I remember when you came back to the game. Like I guess it's a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. Can you tell us a bit about the experience of getting the rust off? Relearning the new meta and stuff.
Yeah, well, back when I used to play, I wasn't like that good of an RTS player, and I was really just the type of person, like I played probably like 100% British, and I didn't care that much about like learning the game, so that's why I was like never as good as Matt at the game. And like AoE 3 is so much just about knowledge. But then pretty much, when I went into AoEO, I started becoming like a lot better RTS player and just like developing, as an RTS player. And now I've kind of come back and I've brought back some of that RTS skill, but I still I don't have a lot of the knowledge in AoE 3 that I never got back in the day, and like I'm still kind of in that mode where I'm not as serious enough to relearn everything, I guess. Like, I should learn everything, but, like, I was telling Matt, like, I think I just played, like, my first ever game as China, like, yesterday. So, that's definitely, my biggest weakness, but...
Okay. And, so let's do, again, a few quick questions. You both play 1v1 in team. Any preference, Matt?
Um, recently I've been playing more team just because, like, I've heard Sam say this too. It's just more relaxed. Like, you know, like
Mhm.
if I get into a mode where I'm like really trying to win every 1v1 and like you know, I get like super like it's almost you get a little bit of anxiety while you're playing
You get
while you're
stressed out.
playing, you know. Yeah, so it's like when I get to that point, I'm just like so I don't want to play Ryan a lot because like I know I'm gonna lose, and for me to win, you gotta be playing so good
Mhm.
that and so quick that it's almost not even fun anymore. You know,
Mhm.
it's weird. It's really weird. But so I've been playing a lot of team lately, where it's just like okay, you know, you just it's just chill.
Okay. And what about you, Mark?
Yeah, pretty much same as Matt. I know for the most part, um, me and Matt, like our whole like RTS like career or whatever, we've always been pretty much always been like strictly like 1v1, you know, because we're always trying to get better. But uh, yeah, pretty much same as Matt. Like recently, you know, 3v3s are like more relaxing, and you know, if you're not as serious about, you know, I guess
Yeah.
you know, trying to win tournament and all that,
Mhm.
it's just yeah, more chill.
But 1v1s is out like I'm always down to play that pretty much.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like it's got to be rated, can't be unrated. I don't play unrated.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
You know, it's
All
like if
right.
we're
All
gonna
right.
play, like let's make it mean something.
yeah, definitely.
I don't know,
The
but yeah, I
competitive
love.
nature.
Yeah,
Mhm.
All right. So, Mark, favorite Civ.
Favorite Civ, definitely the British. It's just I've been playing them for so long. Only Civ I really know like
Mm.
really well, I guess. I don't know.
And the Civ that you hate to play against the most.
Uh, definitely China. I would say they're just extremely OP. They have like an insanely good fast fortress like timing push, and even if they don't want to do that, they could just go to late game where they have old hand, which is unbeatable. So
Mhm.
they definitely should have made some changes to that civ, I think, for the patch.
Okay. What about you, Soldier?
um, I would say my favorite Civ probably switches like every every second game, but I've always been a huge fan of German. Um, I like Brits from time to time, just to like mess around with like water or like make some longbows and some walls or something.
Mhm.
So I would probably say German. Like that was the first Civ I ever played in AoE3, and
Yeah.
I was strictly a German player for a long time. Like probably for the first. Oh man, I forgot about my Sue days. Oh my god.
Oh
For
yeah,
for the for
Sue,
the first
you were
for the
known.
first yeah, for the first year I was like only German, and then once the War Chiefs came out, I was only Sue, and I took Sue to like the level that it was so weird because I took Sue to such a level that like you look at the ELO back then when there were so many good players, like I was the only Sue player in the top 50,
Mhm.
and like but I never used bow riders, which was so bizarre. Like I never explored bow riders, and they would have been OP. They were
How
still
good
like
you could have been.
right. Like I mean, I took Sue to WCG and beat Ryan in one game in '07,
Mhm.
and but Sue's it's still to today. Sue's such like a one lane civ. Like if you have one, they have a lot of weaknesses that
Yeah.
you know. But anyway, then my least favorite civ would be definitely definitely Japan. Just because like you
No, not
can you
not
can
not your least favorite Civ. The Civ you hate to play against the most, so someone else to play
right
against
well
you.
yeah that's what I meant.
Okay.
Civ I
Yeah.
hate to play the most because Japan like you can do all the right things in like an RTS like in an RTS game you have like goals like you win by a few different things like military advantage, eco advantage, or map control. Map
Mhm.
control is like one of the things that in almost every game like you do that you have map control you're gonna win and you
Mhm.
should win. But
Mhm.
like with Japan, it's like they put themselves in their little box and
Yeah.
you can have the entire map and it's just it goes against like RTS fundamentals, which makes me angry.
All
Yeah.
right. Another quick one. Favorite map.
Ooh.
Favorite map. I'm gonna have to look through maps real quick.
I guess I would say maybe Manchuria.
All right,
I
yeah,
like that.
that's a nice one for sure.
Yeah.
I like Arkansas.
Another good
Uh,
one. Those are probably one of the two best Garja maps, I suppose. Pretty
oh, you know
balanced
what?
and
Hudson Bay is a great one
yeah,
too. I
that
just
one's
love
good.
Hudson Bay.
All right, Mark, you've been experimenting with a Kinesi-esque playstyle where you wall up and water boom. Um, so how do you feel about water play and the balance on water?
Um, water. I mean, it can be good, but I think a lot of people actually overrate water. Um,
Hmm. Wow.
I was playing a game versus somebody. I think Mito. I think like a couple weeks ago, and like I did a sea boom and he did a land boom, and it's funny because like. And we both kind of said at the end of the game, it's like the long debate, like what's better, land boom or sea boom,
Hmm.
and like I think he beat me in the game. Um, I mean, it depends. If the person goes aggressive and puts the resources into military and like you wall up and
Hmm.
you have good walls, then obviously your C is gonna take over. But if they go like full boom land style, then it's
Well,
not
the
gonna be.
thing I think that the big difference between land and sea boom is land boom. The more you boom on land, you eventually have to transition into expensive like structures like plantations or mills. Where
Hmm.
if
Yeah.
you do a sea boom, you pretty much get to a point where you delete your fishing ships and you just put the rest on the all the whales.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I've water boom is okay. So like for the longest time, bow riders went undiscovered, and TPs, being early TPs, went
Hmm.
undiscovered, and it's still undiscovered just how OP water is. It's
I disagree,
absolutely
man.
insane.
Like
No, dude.
water slows you down like so crazy. Like it costs so much wood to build docks and to make fishing boats. Like water
Yeah, but
initial
I
sea boom
mean,
slows you down a lot. And
right.
like
You just look at Kanice. Look at Kanice himself. The success that he has. All he does, he starts the game as Jap. He builds his wonders on the shore, knowing that he's gonna be fighting with his ships
It's
on
not
the shore.
just the water eco, right? It's also the warships that are crazy
eh,
effective in what
That's
they
I
do.
that's
mean
the main that's the main
the
part of it.
well
Is the ships
like I
are
like I was
the
saying
ships are
though.
just indestructible. At a certain
Yeah.
point, the ships just will not die to anything.
Yeah. But like I was saying, a lot of people like first Canice, they would make a military and try to push him back and finish him off while he would just be making more walls and
Hmm.
and see booming away. Like they wouldn't boom themselves. It's a
Hmm.
lot different which
Well,
approach they take.
but that's what I'm saying. Like with you, at some point to kill the enemy, you have to go to their seat. And once they have the entire shore, you can't even build a dock, and you can't like get all your ship upgrades. Like the upgrades from the ships in your deck is what makes them like impenetrable. Like they will not die.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
you have to start off going on sea to deny getting to that point.
Hmm.
That's in my mind. That's how it is.
So you're conflicted about this. It's a difficult point, and we will definitely not settle this
Yeah.
debate tonight. So
I
Right.
think I think that's a debate of like the entire like AO3 community
yeah,
though.
yeah, for sure.
So
Every time you
that.
start a topic about it, it explodes
Hmm.
and everyone starts flaming each other and stuff. So
Yeah.
let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit about your approach to the game. What I mean by that is, do you have an idea before you start the game about how you're going to play the matchup, or do you just make it up as you start the game?
For me, I pretty much try to have in a strategy in mind for every Civ matchup, and like say I'm in quick search and I get matched with like a French player and I'm like German. Like I have a strategy, or I have to try to remember what it is. That's the best strategy versus what I think that they're gonna do.
Hmm.
So then I go from there, and I do make slight alterations, like depending on the map. Like if your first mine is like 2,000 coin, and then the second mine is pretty far out, like I'll probably play it a little differently than if there's two mines in your base. So,
Hmm.
but for the most part, I just like pick a main strategy for what I think will combat their strategy.
Mm-hmm. All right. And what about you, Mark?
Um, when I'm playing at my best, and like ideally, I would like absolutely have the strategy like in my mind. Like ideally, I would be playing a game and like I would know exactly what I'm doing, and then I would see it happening. And when like you see something happen that like you said like before the game started, like you knew it was gonna happen this way, and then it actually happens, like that kind of like builds up your confidence, and you're like, all right, the game's moving, exactly as I like played it out in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just gonna keep moving like that way. Um,
Okay.
but I mean, it's a lot easier to do that. I feel like in tournaments because you know what maps you're playing on, which I really like. You could build your strategies a lot like that.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, when you're just playing regular, there are a lot of variables like so many different matchups, like treasures, make builds different,
Mm-hmm.
all the different maps. So
Okay. And what about your play style? I think the both of you, if I from my experience from playing the both of you, I'd say uh, anxiety or Mark is a bit more defensive and trying to boom in his base. Perhaps also because he's playing Brits, while Soldier is the more aggressive player. Well, how do you guys see your own style?
Yeah, for the longest time, I was like an ultra aggressor. Like I could not sit in my seat comfortably if I was not pushing, like putting pressure in some way on my opponent. And it still probably is like my biggest weakness. Like I get too aggressive and like I'll like send a 5-0 and raid somewhere and they get cut up, and then I'm like, at a big disadvantage because of that. But yeah, my playstyle is definitely aggressive, and trying to always get a little bit. I'm understanding booms a lot better now. Like playing German and team games,
Mm-hmm.
been
yeah.
learning a lot.
And what Mark Matt, sorry, what's the style that you hate to play against the most?
I hate to play against Kenny style. I hate that. Absolutely, and actually, I hate your like when I first started playing versus you, Yumi, you would just like boom in your base, but make military, but you just like sit. I remember a game on Great Plains. You had an Agra fort in your base, and you just like spammed like Sepoy and Gurkha and just massed an army,
Mm.
and then just like waited for like the mass to grow and just go out.
Wait for that one fight.
Yeah, right. So those are like I like to have exciting games like with a lot of action.
Mm.
So that's what I hate, playing games that are just like drawn out or like planned for the late game.
Mm-hmm. So same question for you, Mark.
So my style, I would say, yeah, I think I agree with what you said. Like Brits, like you said, I am Brit, so I think a lot of times that I can be really defensive when I play.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of playing Brit. Um, I mean, I do sometimes play India, but yeah, I mean, I guess defensive style. And what do I hate playing versus? What was it right?
Yeah,
The other
yeah.
one.
What kind of style?
What do I hate playing versus?
I remember that you always had a lot of trouble against Russia, like
Yeah,
aggressive.
I've learned that a lot better now. Um, yeah, I'm a lot better versus that now, but it can sometimes give me trouble. But I think like Matt said, I think H2O or Zuda says this like the whole where you mass up an army and then you just right click on their town center
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like one fight like that can be annoying
Mm-hmm.
to play versus, I guess.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the patch balance. Both of you, I don't know if Soldier, were you a patch tester for this patch?
I was, but I didn't do too much at the
Okay.
time because I
So
wasn't too involved.
so what do you think about the balance? Let's talk about the civs that has been nerfed the most, probably Aero. Do you think it's
Yeah.
the changes are good?
So I've always been like a fan of just kind of going with how the game is and trying to figure. I always believe that there's like a strategy you can do that's gonna beat the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't always been too much about like patches and stuff, but Nerfing Eero, not only is that better for high level play, but I think like Eero, the way it is on RE, can really ruin the game for new players that just get smashed at like 5 minutes. And like the biggest thing about the EP is that the map balance changes the civ balance.
Yeah, for sure.
So like there's a lot more hunt on a lot of maps. Like I played a game yesterday. This was ridiculous. I played a game where it was like a major yesterday on Ozarks, and I was French. He was Sioux. Obviously, you only have like 1.5 maybe hunts around your base.
Yeah.
And I was buying food at like 5 minutes. It was ridiculous. You know, like maps like that shouldn't exist.
Yeah,
So,
Ozarks is one of the
EP
worst maps.
Yeah. So the EP biggest thing is like I would have been interested to see how the EP would be with the only change being the maps. It could be like, you know, it'll change the balance of civs. But Auto and Eero were definitely too annoying to like. They give you an advantage from the start of the game, which, you know, and I think Eero now though is just kind of like really bad because they're just like a lot slower, and they're not like the most diverse or like civ that can go different directions and change up strategies. They're kind of like, you know, it's either you rush or you FF, or that's how it used to be. And
You
now
could always, they had a pretty solid FI as well against some civs.
So, I mean, the balance patch balance now is a lot better. I just think Eero was a little bit over nerfed.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of indirect boosts to like French and Brits with the amount of hunts that are on maps now.
And ports probably as well, especially
ports,
since they got 80 food vills. So what do you think about the wall nerf, Mark?
I think that's a very good patch or a change. Like walls definitely were way too good, and even on EP, like I think you can still do like the Kinesi style. Like it's definitely not as good, but I think it's, you know, still like a viable strategy. You just have to be like quicker with like making new layers where you're getting attacked, and just, you know, have your army in the right spots at the right time. But yeah.
And any of you played Dutch or played against Dutch?
Yeah, I've played a little Dutch. I played more Dutch on the EP because they do seem a lot stronger, and Mito's got like certain things that he is very innovative with Dutch and introduces like how good they are. Because once Dutch get on their feet, even on the RE, like once they get on their feet, like they're up there with one of the better civs. And with the EP, they pretty much got 2 free cards. Like they used to have to send 2 cards to get 2 extra banks, and now those cards, you know, they already get those 2 bonuses, and now those cards have 20% boost too. So, in team games on the EP, sadly they're like extremely broken because their move is just absolutely insane.
I don't know why they.
So what?
I think they changed like the cards like too much with Dutch, like giving them like plus 20.
It's a bit of a experiment as well, right? So they will definitely look into balancing it a bit more for team as well, because I guess initially it's a 1v1 patch.
Right.
So what do you what do you think is the top civ at the moment?
All right, I'll go first.
Go ahead, Mark.
So I would say China. China's probably number 1, and then German number 2.
And the worst civ?
Worst civ. I don't know. That's Jeez, I'd have to look through all of them.
Maybe like Spain, ports, Eero.
Yeah, maybe still Spain. Spain or I don't know.
Well, I would say the top civ right now. It's not so clear. I don't think it's ever been so clear, because there's matchups. Matchups change it, like you know how good they are. But the best civ versus like the general, you know, all civs, I would say you're still there with China, German, and I'm always like a fan of French because they're almost like uncounterable. That like they don't have a direct like counter civ or strat.
Mhm.
So I think it's really close now though. And the bottom, like even Spain, like Spain's not a bad civ.
Yeah,
They just
like
have certain they've had certain matchups where it's like, they don't have the right cards to like send,
Mhm.
like 8 muskets in age 3 or something. Like imagine if Spain had 8 muskets in age 3, like that
Mhm.
might change. I don't know, or they don't have any skirm cards, so
Yeah.
it's just like 1 or 2 cards can change the civ. But I think Euro is definitely the bottom civ right now.
Okay.
uh,
Did both of you play in the first fan patch, like the not this one but the one before, or just you,
hmm
Soldier?
yeah, we both
I
did.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Um,
We were both.
yeah, you both
Sorry, go
played
ahead.
it.
Okay.
I just want to ask, how do you think the current level of play is compared to the first era of the fan patch? Like how good the players are now compared to how they were then?
I think that the every top player, the higher ranked players,
Mhm.
are more well rounded now, um, because just as time goes on, people pick up little things and develop strategies deeper. So
Mhm.
just by nature of like time of a game progressing, everybody got a little bit better. And but there was probably a little bit more people like top player, like good players back then.
Mhm.
So the amount of good players was probably higher back then, but the polished like level of play is probably higher now.
Okay. Do you agree with that, Mark?
I would say the polish level is probably higher now, but I think I would also say that there's more better players now.
Okay.
And I think one of the really main reasons why there's like the polish play is better is because since people started streaming, like we're
Yeah.
seeing Ryan stream like one of the best AoE3 players ever. We're seeing like all of his builds. Like we're seeing Samwise, like King Onage, like a bunch of random guys, and
Mhm.
you get strategies from from watching them,
Mhm.
and you pick up little things, and
Mhm.
I think that's definitely like major one of the major reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start to wrap it up. We're almost at the end now. I want to conclude with talking about the tournament that's coming up. You mentioned it before, and Ryan also told me that you guys played for the WCG qualifiers. Can you talk a bit about that? How old were you when you were playing then?
I played for it too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I know both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt. You take
It was just after my 18th birthday. We went to the regionals, and it was pretty much like in our region. It was like the Midwest U.S. So there wasn't too many good players. So at the qualifier, it was me, Ryan, Mark, and then some random kid.
it. Yeah.
Um, and 2 people were gonna qualify to go to Orlando to play for the U.S. Nationals.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I brought like I remember I brought my backpack with my keyboard, my mouse, like this CD that I would always play like every time I'm playing, which is I like to think about that like it's crazy like that I had a CD that I brought. But yeah, so Mark played Ryan first, I think, and I think what did you lose like 2-0 or something
Yeah. I don't think
or
2-0 or
3-0?
3-0.
It was best of
Yeah,
five, I'm
something like
pretty
that.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Mark, I don't think picked up the game, but when I played Ryan, I won the first game, so I was up 1-0. I was Sue, and I'm not sure what he was at that time in the first game. It might have been Brits, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, but game 2, he picked Eero, and back then,
hmm
Eero had this card that was
Great
The Grey
house.
ridiculous.
House.
The Great
Yep.
House,
Yeah.
yes, and it made TCs like 66% cheaper, and I think boosted their attack and HP by 50% each. So like TCs were like ridiculous. They one shot almost everything, and they would for Sue. I was a Sue player strictly,
Mhm.
um, and it was like impossible. So I played. It was on Yukon. Game 2 was on Yukon. He was Eero, and I was Sue, and he just like put a couple of those around the middle of the map, and I was trying like to siege dance it down with like X Riders, and they're just like getting one or two hitted from these two seasons. Like I think I played them, so I lost that game, and I think it was 1-1, and I might have played another game and lost, or I might have just right there been like, you know what, I'm not gonna beat that strategy, and so I just like forfeited.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
think
finish the best of 5.
no,
Okay.
I think he played. I think he did it twice. Yeah, and after the third game, like I was down 2-1, and I knew he was just gonna keep doing that. So, and I had no way to beat it. And if I picked another civ, I knew he was just more well-rounded player. He was just gonna smash me. So, I actually forfeited. So then so they offered me and Ryan a ticket to Orlando, and I actually, because I was going into college, like my first week of college, and I didn't want to like stupid young. I didn't want to miss out my first weekend of college, so I didn't go. I didn't take the free flight.
Did someone else go in your place?
They offered it to Mark.
Yeah, they offered it to me, and I was like a freshman in high school, and I guess I was like, I was probably following like what Matt did, and I think I was also like I would have to fly, like
You were
14-year-old kid. I would have to. Yeah, I was like 15. I'd have to fly, hop on a plane when I've never been on a plane in my life and like fly to Florida. So I think I was, I was like a little intimidating. I said no also.
Okay. So in the end, the other guy went, or you don't know?
No, I think just Ryan went from the Midwest.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, that's probably like the biggest regret of my life. Not even lying. Like just to miss out on that free experience, and like I don't know, it was just really bad decision.
Yeah, Matt, go on and say like, cause Matt always says, and then would you do like when you found out Ryan won like the entire WCG?
Yeah, and so after that, like I pretty much, because I went to my freshman year of college, I stopped playing for at least like 8 months, and I got online and I saw that was 2007. So I got online probably like a year and a half later, and I saw that Ryan won 08 WCG, and I was like, I called Mark. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I beat this guy a year ago, and he ended up winning 10 grand at WCG the next year. I was just like dumbfounded.
Did he actually make it through the qualifiers in 2007? I guess not, right?
I think he.
Right.
Right.
I think he might have lost to Promit, or not Promit. What was that?
That was the year. That was the year he won it all, right?
No, he won it the next year. I think Parfait went to the championship from the U.S. So Parfait probably knocked him out at some point.
Okay, so let's continue to the last few questions. Well, both of you have played quite a lot of tournaments before. Can you tell us a bit about your mindset going into such events? You play to win or just for fun?
Oh, I'm always playing to with the hopes of winning, and until I lose, I pretty much believe I can. Even though maybe like if I'm playing Ryan, like I know, like the first tournament, what was that, spring? I knew I was like the odds were against me. I'm not supposed to win, but I knew like if I pick the right strategies and I execute correctly, then I could win. And I won the first game of that series. And,
you always seem to take the first game off him.
Right, I know. And then I just fall apart. So, yeah, I mean, I got the confidence. But deep down, I know it's unlikely because, I don't know. I don't play that much, and there's better players out there.
Okay. What about you, Mark?
For AoE 3, it's a little bit different because, like I've been kind of saying, I really don't have like that good a game knowledge, and like I don't play the top civs. So even if I'm like, playing my absolute, like playing the best anyone can, you can't win a tournament if you don't play like China and German. If you don't have those two civs like down well, like nobody's gonna win like any tournament if they're not playing, China or German or one of the other top civs. And I don't play those civs, so. But at the same time, I think me and Matt, we both are really competitive, and we all are always trying to win. So I do have that competitive spirit, but at the same time, I know I'm not like I don't have the top stage power
Competitive but
styles.
realistic.
Yeah, in a sense.
All right. So did any of you ever play Grunt?
I
I don't.
played Grunt. I played Grunt. I think one time,
Mm.
and it was well. He obviously wasn't around for too long, so it was probably like early AOE vanilla,
Mhm.
and I remember. I think he was Eero, and I think it was like not very. It was really disappointing, because like when you play Grunt, you're like, oh my god, like he's like literally a celebrity of the time.
Mhm.
The, the guy won like 98% of his games at over like 300 games. Like it's
Mhm.
ridiculous. And I think, but the situation in that game was, I think it was a map like I forget what it's called, but I got hunt screwed,
Mhm.
and he was Eero, and yeah, I think I was German, and it was like a no hope, no hope to win versus anybody like
Mhm.
decent type of situation. So
All right, super. So what would you say is the best player that you ever played?
the best player I ever played versus,
Mhm.
I would say in any game, I would say the Mista.
No, well.
I mean in Age of Empires 3, but good that you
In
mentioned that as
AoE
well.
3, yeah, in AoE 3, I would say I would I mean I'd probably say Ryan. Or if you go back, like there's so many good guys over the years. Like Fluky was really good in his time. Nature Phoenix was like when you go back, it's like you go back in time where builds were just so undiscovered and
Mhm.
like the game was so like unknown. But Ryan's like really like he gets so mad when he loses because he knows like he's so good that he shouldn't lose.
Mhm.
So I think he's probably the best player on AoE 3 I've ever played.
Okay. What about you, Mark?
Best player, my opinion of the best player?
Yeah,
Or,
the guy you think is the best player that you played. He doesn't have to be the best ever, but just the guy that you think was the best or that you had the best games against.
um, yeah, well, yeah, like Matt says, it's so hard to compare each other. Like everybody is in their prime at different points. Like,
Mhm.
obviously, like this probably isn't like Ryan's prime. It's not really Samway's prime. They're not like playing all that. So
Mhm.
it's hard to compare people. But yeah, I mean Ryan is now probably one of the best people I've ever played versus, or is probably the best.
Okay.
And yeah, I think almost back to around that WCG time. Man, I don't know if you recall this, but I remember there
I
was
know
like
it.
some, you know what I'm gonna say? There's like some
Yeah,
small
sure.
like little like tournament thing. It was like you could sign up for it for AoE 3, and it was just like whoever had like the most wins for this thing would get like a free like headset or like something like that. They would get some like something mailed to them. And I remember for that, I ended up playing like the two people that were like really into it was Ryan and Mr. Milo, and I played a ton of games versus like those
Yeah,
two. And I think I actually
and
improved a lot when I played like because I spammed games versus Mr. Milo and
Mhm.
versus Ryan back then.
yeah, that was
That was
probably when you were the best you've ever been because I remember like you played Ryan like, probably like 20 times in like a matter of like a week, and I think you won like 3 or 4, and I was like, what the heck? Like, how
yeah.
is this guy beating Ryan?
Yeah, I think we were doing Brit Mirrors a lot, and I was like,
Yeah,
I
you would.
remember I
Yeah,
was
that's.
really good at Brit Mirrors back then.
All right.
But
So let's move on to the final questions. Any players you're looking out for this tournament that you think might be in it to win it? Mark, you go
okay,
first.
I'll go first. Honestly, probably the favorite to win it is Lord Raphael. Uh,
Wow, wow,
yeah, just
that's
because.
pretty crazy to say. Is it Ryan in this, or did he back out?
No, Ryan's still in
No,
it.
he is.
Lord
Okay, so you
Raphael,
got Ryan. Hold on, you got
Sa-
Ryan and Sam.
Samwise
Yeah,
is in
Last,
it.
and you're telling
right.
me
I would say
neither of them
right.
are gonna win.
I would say right
That's
now the
crazy.
favorite is Lord Raphael, but it depends how these next like couple weeks go. Like if Ryan gets really into it, or if Sam gets really into it, and they start playing a lot,
Mhm.
then it might shift more into one of them.
Mhm.
But if they're not playing like a lot, then I would say Lord Raphael is the favorite.
All right.
This is an exciting part. I was waiting for this. So let me break it down how I see it.
All right. Go
So
ahead.
so yeah, Rafa is really good. like Mongo was telling me the other day. Mongo's really good now too, but Mongo was saying just how good Raphael is,
Mm.
and like he was like his APM's like all over the place, and like he lost like 4-0 to him, and it's like, it's like the hopeless feeling that you get when you play Ryan.
Mhm.
You know, like even if I'm playing Sam, like I have my confidence, but if I'm playing like H2O or Rafa nowadays, like I'm
Mhm.
just like, man, like I need to have them either mess up or play absolutely perfect to win.
Mhm.
And but the thing about Rafa is I think he's his isn't this is Ryan's weakest point too, is but more so on Rafa is that his civ diversity is like very limited, I think.
Mhm.
Like I think Rafa, he's obviously like the best players are always really good with French, and then I don't even know
Germany.
if he's good with. I don't even know, is he good with German? Like that's
He,
what I
he's
need.
still he's still pretty good with Germany. It's not as good as his French, but he's still good at it. And
Yeah.
Brits as well.
So
Yeah.
like
Like if he
it's
doesn't
gonna
learn
be
China, you know.
yeah.
I
He'll
think
be
I think there is a theory that he's been practicing India secretly, so maybe he's also been practicing China as well. We don't know. He hasn't
yeah.
been that active on his main account, so I think he has been smurfing, perhaps Gerald of Rivia, but just throwing it out there.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay.
It's probably him, but we don't know for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So it's gonna be really. Oh man, like when Sam and Raphael French mirror, it's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
Like it'll probably be decided by like hunt location, like how close the hunt is to somebody's base. Like that's
Mm.
how close that game will be.
So how far do you think you will get yourself, Mark?
It depends how into it determined I get, because I am going back to school in about a week,
Hmm.
so I do kind of see myself as being very busy, and depending on how it goes, like I could be playing like a decent amount, or I could not be playing at all and only play, I could go like a week and a half playing 0 games and then just play my tournament game, like that's possible. So
Okay.
it depends how busy I am and how much I'm playing, but.
Well,
I
do
mean,
you think you're gonna get? Do you think you'll get past win 2 games, like your round of one through
I'll beat
eight?
the first guy. He's like first lieutenant. I think I could beat
No,
Optimus
I think
Prime.
I
He's
think
like a
your
first,
first guy is
maybe a captain.
actually pretty decent. Like
I think he's like a
he
first
plays
lieutenant
team
or captain.
games. Okay.
His PR is really low. And I think I could be Optimus Prime, and I, I I think I could beat Kinesi. Like I said, kind of depending on how much I'm playing. It's annoying. I'm glad I'm
But you're
rematching
not
him
against
actually.
Kinesi, right? You
No,
are.
I would be. It'd be Optimus Prime, and then I'd be playing versus Kinesi.
Ah, okay.
I'm actually glad, man.
Where
Last
are
tournament was
you
actually
at? No,
pretty.
that's not true.
Yeah, yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, they changed. Huh?
No,
No,
it's
Oh
always
yeah,
been
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Sorry.
yeah.
I
It's
didn't
actually
see you there. Yeah.
it's pretty upsetting because last tournament, like honestly, the first game where he dropped, like I honestly, like I had that game won, and I was just nice, and then
Yeah,
when we
yeah. I remember
replayed
that
it, like
game.
he saw my strat and it was a lot different.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I would have been up 1, compared to,
Hmm.
losing that, and then my mentality was like, completely different. But so I'm actually excited to have the
So
chance to play with him again.
basically you tilted.
Huh? I tilted?
Basically you tilted.
You did a Ryan tilt.
Well, no, more
like
like a guard you tilt.
that's the one thing about like AoE3 and really all RTS games. Like your mentality is like so like hugely important when you play. Like, cause when you lose like one game like that, like, it could just like break you down so much, and like your next games you play, you're just like significantly worse because like your
Mhm.
mind's not in the right place.
Yeah, for sure. We've all had
It's just
that happen when you are down 2-0 and you're just like, ah, god damn it, and then you play.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Soldier, you had a pretty good run the in spring and summer. I think round of 16, uh, in summer
Yeah, I
against
mean,
Maito, and round of 8 against H2O in spring.
yeah.
You think you will do better this time around?
Dude, let me tell you, this bracket is pretty loaded. Like it's gonna be like I gotta face Mongo if
Mm-hmm.
I, progress after my first game. And like clearly that guy's playing really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, it'll be interesting. to see if I can pass him, and then after that, like I still haven't looked past that too well.
I
Too
think
much
after that
because-
you're either against good speed or bad speed.
Right, right. And then
If you beat that, it will be
Yeah.
me, Kinesi, or
right,
who's the other guy? Kahansky.
yeah. So honestly, right now, the guy I'm fearing the most in my entire like section, like going as far as like 3 games ahead, is Mongo. He's my biggest concern right now for sure. Like I'll be confident, more confident versus good speed or Kanice, you know. So just
Yeah.
because
Alright.
he's the way he plays, he's not a great player versus China, and that's like what he's really good at, and he's gonna at least play him twice. So
Mhm.
I'm pretty nervous about them. I gotta at least take one of those
Yeah.
China matches.
All right. Thank you, guys. That was it. We had a pretty long chat here, so I'm gonna leave it at this. Thank you for answering all the questions and enjoy.